Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome all of you to this webinar series on Board of Internal Audit. And today we have with us CA Anil Yadav, who is from the Central Region, taking very important topic in today's era. Along with that, we have our two very special moderators, CA Rishi Agarwal and CA Kirti Jain. And I'm sure at the end of this session, you all will have a great value add to your knowledge. And friends, this entire session will also be recorded, and over a period of time, it will be kept online. A video will be there to access for all of you. It's a great exercise and dissemination of knowledge. Friends, it is our endeavor to serve all of you the best this webinar series on internal audit. Friends, again, I would request all of you, if you want to share your knowledge or want to become the moderator and have any suggestions which will be helpful, one of your suggestion will be helpful to all the members, all entire fraternity, feel free to connect with us. And for today's session, I can say for our very honorable speaker, Anil ji, is that he's a very knowledgeable. He comes from the central region. He's a regional council member in CIRC, and friends, having an excellent practice in the areas of internal audit, bank audit, and with his knowledge, will be able to understand the topic in great detail. So, Anilji, we welcome you to this webinar, and I am sure with your valuable knowledge dissemination, everyone will be very happy and have a great value add. So thank you, and Anilji, for accepting our invitation and being part of this webinar series. So thank you so much, and over to the moderators. I also I will be failing in my duty if I don't acknowledge the efforts of our chairman, CA Prakash Sharma, always being there, very supportive and doing a lot of work in the interest of institute. So the great work by him also, and our team of Board of Internal Audit, the Secretary Aarti, as well as all the team members. With these words, I welcome all of you to this webinar series on internal audit. Thank you so much, and over to moderator.
Thank you. Thank you, Preeti ma'am, for your wise words of wisdom. Hello, members. I am CA Rishi Agrawal. I welcome you all on behalf of Board of Internal Audit and Management Accounting for today's webinar on red flags in concurrent audit. Concurrent audits serve as a proactive measure to detect irregularities and prevent potential risks. In the context of concurrent audits, identifying red flags is crucial to maintaining financial integrity and compliance. Some of the key aspects of today's webinar will be focusing on coverage of vital areas during concurrent audit, maintenance of records during concurrent audit, reporting methodologies, and much more. And to take this topic in detail, we have with us CA Anil Yadav ji. It is my privilege to introduce such eminent personality. CA Anil Yadav ji is a fellow chartered accountant and a BCom graduate. He is a regional council member from CIRC. He was the chairman of SICASA of CIRC and chairman Jaipur branch, and also joint secretary of Tax Consultant Association Jaipur. He was also a secretary of Lions Club Jaipur CA. He is also special invitee of Rajasthan Tax Consultant Associations. He has more than 15 years experience in bank audit. He is a regular faculty of ICI on bank audit, income tax, code of ethics, standards on auditing, and peer review. Along with his professional commitment, he is also spiritual and has completed diploma in Bhagavad Gita. With this, I would like to present before you CA Anil Yadav ji, and would hand over the meeting to him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rishi bhai. Thank you, Kirti. And thank you so much, Preeti ma'am, for your valuable times. We all understand because you are very busy, and I think now you are also moving from at airport. Now you are at airport, or thank you so much for giving me opportunity. Thank you so much, Prakash Sharma ji, Chairman of Internal Audit Board. Thank you so much, all the staff of Internal Audit Board, Aarti ma'am, Amit ji, and all the members present here. Friends, before discussing the red flag in the concurrent audit, can you know the how many members are present here? Because I just want to know. कीर्ति, अच्छा चलो हम आपसे बात करते हैं ना, बिकॉज थोड़ा ना इंटरेक्टिव सेशन होना चाहिए. नफरा की वेबसाइट पे कितने मेंबर्स आ रहे हैं इन दिनों? हाउ मेनी आर यू?
Technical team, can you please let us know how many
212
members?
212 attendees.
ओके, तो मेंबर्स की चैट हमारे पास आ सकती है टेक्निकल टीम. इफ यू वांट टू आस्क सम क्वेश्चन.
क्वेश्चन सर मैं देख सकती हूँ.
ओके,
या मेंबर्स
So,
I
कैन
think give
no-
that right. Give that right. Technical team, I request you to give that right to Anil ji also, so that he can also view the questions. So the session can be interactive, right? Anil ji, you want the access?
यस मैम.
हाँ. So take आरती एक बार देख लीजिए ना.
या ऋषि, जस्ट टेल मी, लास्ट टाइम कब नफरा साइट आपने विजिट किया था?
It's been a
Can you
while,
call
sir.
Aarti and just I'll
No
I'll
idea.
come. Technical team, are you there? Technical team? हाँ अशोक, आप जो क्वेश्चन का एक्सेस है ना, स्पीकर को दे दीजिए प्लीज. आप उनको भी दे दीजिए एडिशनल एक्सेस, तो इट विल बी हेल्पफुल फॉर हिम फॉर इंटरेक्शन.
चलिए ठीक है मैम, हम उसको करते हैं. हाँ, यस ऋषि भाई, जस्ट टेल मी, लास्ट टाइम व्हेन यू विजिटेड द नफरा वेबसाइट.
It's been a while, sir. मतलब जब इंट्रोड्यूस किया होगा तब किया होगा, उसके बाद चांस ही नहीं लगा है.
एथिकल स्टैंडर्ड बोर्ड, मतलब मीन जो आईसीए वेबसाइट है, एथिकल स्टैंडर्ड बोर्ड से.
नहीं, it's been a while.
यस,
ना,
की सेम.
सीआई की वेबसाइट तो सर देखते रहते हैं, लेकिन नफरा की वेबसाइट नहीं देखी. सर ये आप चैट जो मैंने डाला है ना, वो लिंक पे क्लिक कीजिए, तो आप क्वेश्चन आंसर देख सकते हैं. फिर वो लॉगिन आईडी पासवर्ड मैं शेयर करती हूँ.
मेरे पास नहीं है शायद. आई
ये
थिंक
लॉगिन आईडी है और ये पासवर्ड है.
कहाँ पे डाला है आपने? मीटिंग ग्रुप चैट पे डाला है?
चैट में, हाँ सर, मीटिंग रूम चैट में से मिला आपको.
तो इसको तो लास्ट याद आ रहा है, वी आर ट्राइंग टू कनेक्ट वाला बस मैसेज, उसके बाद
और
चलिए देखते हैं. लेट्स सी, चलो देखते हैं आगे, अपन आ जाएगा, अभी चैट आ जाएगा. जस्ट टेल मी ना. तो व्हाट इज द हैपनिंग कि हम लोग सब जगह जा रहे हैं, हम व्हाट्सएप पे जा रहे हैं, हम सोशल मीडिया पे जा रहे हैं, बट जहां में जाना है वहां नहीं जा रहे. अच्छा, नफरा के ऑर्डर, जस्ट एक रिक्वेस्ट है आप सबसे, जितने भी व्यूअर्स हैं आज आप सब नफरा की वेबसाइट के ऊपर जाए, जितने भी ऑर्डर्स हैं ऑर्डर्स को पढ़े जरूर आप. जस्ट प्लीज प्लीज रीड द ऑर्डर. जितने भी ऑर्डर इश्यू की है नफरा ने, वो एक बार पढ़े जरूर. बिकॉज जब आप ऑर्डर को पढ़ेंगे ना, देन यू रियलाइज कि यार ये ऑर्डर, ये तो सेम मे बी पॉसिबली शायद मैं भी ऐसे कर रहा हूँ, शायद मैं भी शायद ऐसे कर रहा हूँ. बिकॉज नाउ इट इज ऑडिट इज ए वेरी सीरियस वर्क. डू इट सीरियसली और क्विट. देयर इज नो एक्सक्यूज कि सर ऑडिट में ऐसा था, सर मेरी फीस कम थी, सर ये था वो था. तो प्लीज इट्स रिक्वेस्ट टू ऑल ऑफ यू कि प्लीज डू इट सीरियसली. बिकॉज सिनेरियो बिल्कुल चेंज हो गया है, हमारी रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बहुत बढ़ गई है. तो प्लीज इट्स अ रिक्वेस्ट कि अच्छा, उसमें भी क्या होगा, अभी सीरियसली हमें ऐसा लगता है कि अरे सर ये तो वेबिनार के अंदर होता है, सेमिनार में होता है, सब ऐसे ही बोलते हैं, मत थोड़ा. तो जस्ट आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है, इसलिए मैं आपको कह रहा हूं कि जस्ट आप नफरा की वेबसाइट के ऊपर जाएंगे, जब नफरा की जब आप ऑर्डर पढ़ेंगे ना, तो देन डेफिनेटली आपको पता लगेगा कि कहाँ क्या प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, कहाँ बोला ऐसा हो रहा है, अच्छा ये तो मैं भी कर रहा हूँ. तो जब वह आप उनको रियलाइज करेंगे, जब कंपेयर करेंगे नफरा के ऑर्डर्स को और आपकी वर्किंग को, तो आपको कहीं ना कहीं लगेगा डेफिनेटली जो कंपनीज की ऑडिट चल रही है, इवन कहीं जो ऑडिट चल रही है, वहां कुछ प्रॉब्लम चल रही है. तो नाउ अब मैं मेरी स्क्रीन एक मिनट, जस्ट इज विजिबल.
Yes.
So nowadays, we all know banking sector has grown by leaps and bounds in last year, and because there are so increments, so we need more governance, accountability, and transparency. The pace of change puts great challenges for banks as well as auditors also. because there are the multiple fraud, there are risk management control. So we have to check all these things. We all are auditors are responsible for all the fraud. Just suppose, Kirti, you are receiving the fees of only 25,000 as a concurrent auditor and there is a fraud of rupees 10 crore. Then you are responsible for 10 crore.
10 crore.
You are responsible loss to the bank. The RBI clearly mentioned that if the auditor is not detecting the fraud, then he is the personal responsible for
Yes.
loss to the banks.
Bank को तो loss है.
Now, so this was the background. Now, what is the EWS? Today we have the topic of the red flag accounts. So, red flags account has been launched in the year 2005. Then what was the EWS? EWS is the raw material. We can say it's the raw material. Early warning systems are specialized tools. EWS is what? Is the specialized tools built using a set of parameters. There is the certain parameters set by the RBI, but these were the illustrative parameters. RBI said कि भाई यार देखो मेरी तरफ से तो 30 parameters है. If you think, Kirti, if you think in your bank, sir, we want 10 more parameters, you can add. Rishi bhai, if you can think, sir, वो 15 parameter मुझे भी add करते हैं, then you can also add the parameters. Parameters के भी 2 parts होते हैं. एक सेंसिटिव होते हैं, नॉन सेंसिटिव होता है ना, कुछ थोड़ा मोर इंपॉर्टेंट और लेस इंपॉर्टेंट. तो यू मे बी डिवाइड आल्सो द पैरामीटर इन द 2 पार्ट, इन द सेंसिटिव पैरामीटर एंड द नॉन सेंसिटिव पैरामीटर, built using a set of parameter and process that identify probable risk at a early stage. What is the early is the you can easily link the from the name of this early warning system. Sorry, early warning है बट कब है? अर्ली है. बिकॉज होता क्या है, व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम कि हमारे यहाँ पहले बैंक क्या करता है, पहले बैंक पूरी कोशिश करता है, ऋषि भाई को लोन दिया, ऋषि भाई लोन दो, ऋषि भाई लोन दो, ऋषि भाई लोन नहीं देते हैं, फिर उनकी सिक्योरिटी के ऊपर जाते हैं, फिर सिक्योरिटी पता लगता है सिक्योरिटी की ट्रांसफर हो चुकी है, देन फिर किसी कोलेटरल सिक्योरिटी दूसरी तरह गारंटर की तरफ वहां जाते हैं, वो भी अवेलेबल नहीं है, फिर रिकवरी के लिए कीर्ति मैडम को भेजते हैं, मैडम आप जाओ पता करके आओ क्या है क्या नहीं, फिर लास्ट में पता लगता है भैया कुछ भी नहीं है यहाँ तो, अब रिकवरी मोड नहीं है, देन फिर सोचता है सर ये तो फ्रॉड हो गया. और जब आरबीआई को रिपोर्ट करते हैं फ्रॉड हो गया, तो जब तक तो कुछ बचता ही नहीं हमारे पास के अंदर, बिकॉज जब आप फ्रॉड जाते हैं तो फ्रॉड के टाइम इतना ड्यूरेशन हो जाता है, ड्यूरेशन इतना हो जाए जब तक तो पता लगता है, जब तक हमने विजय माल्या का पकड़ा, नीरव मोदी का पकड़ा, वो तो हिंदुस्तान छोड़ के बाहर चले गए. तो दिस इज द ईडब्ल्यूएस की अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम है कि सर ये कुछ ऐसे पैरामीटर्स हैं कि अगर यहां किसी अकाउंट्स के अंदर आ रहे हैं, इफ देयर इज द ये पैरामीटर्स कहीं हिट हो रहे हैं, देन मे बी इट्स नॉट द कंफर्म कि फ्रॉड है ये, बट मे बी इट्स द फ्रॉड. तो इसमें क्या होता है कि आपको अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम में पैरामीटर्स हैं, पैरामीटर्स के बाद देन आपका रेड फ्लैग अकाउंट्स है, देन रेड फ्लैग अकाउंट्स इज अ चेक बाय द बैंक.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
There is a request here. Please speak in English because the other people have joined from other parts of the country.
Yeah.
So,
A comprehensive and well-structured EWS assists the top-level management to predict possible default from borrower that may adversely affect the institution. Because if there will be fraud, there will be loss, there will be financial loss, and there will be financial loss. It may definitely affect the business of the institution. Such system can prevent manual omission, other oversight, thereby securing the bank's valued assets. So, what is the purpose of the EWS? Is the purpose of the EWS is the securing the bank's valued assets. Now, we can discuss the RBI Master Circular. In 2016, this is the Master Circular number. In the context of the increasing incidence of fraud in general and in loan portfolio in particular, objective of this framework, what framework? EWS framework and the red flag framework is to direct the focus of banks on the aspect relating to prevention, early detection, promote reporting to the banks, and the investigative agency. What is the investigation agency? Maybe internal banking agency or maybe outside the banking agency. And maybe you may also refer the case to for the forensic audit also. And timely initiation of the staff accountability proceeding while ensuring that normal conduct of business of the bank and their risk-taking ability is not adversely impact and no new and onerous responsibility are placed on the banks. In order to achieve the objective, the framework also seek to stipulate timelines with the action incumbent on a bank. The timelines, stage-wise action in the loan life cycle are expected to compress the total time taken by a bank to identify a fraud. I repeat, the total time taken by a bank to identify a fraud, because it's the very important in the early warning signal. Keep how much times bank has taken for identify a fraud, and a more effective action by the law enforcement agency. Because if there is a early detection, then definitely we can save the we can detect the fraud at the early stage, and definitely we can also save the money which can be lost by the bankers. The early detection of fraud and the necessary corrective action are important to reduce the quantum of loss. If there is early detection, then definitely the loss, we can reduce the quantum of the loss, which the continuation of the fraud may entail. The government is separately looking into the issue of timeline and coordinated action by the law enforcement agency. That may be also, you can say the AD is the new enforcement agency in this field. What is the concept of the red flag account? And the concept of the red flag account is being introduced in the current framework as an important step in fraud risk control. A red flag account is one where a suspicion of the fraudulent activity. It's not a confirm. It's not a, we can't say that is a fraud. It's just a suspicious activities. We can say this just is a signal. We can say, because in many high court cases, high court has also ordered to the banks that you have to provide the opportunity to the customer as a natural justice that this is not a fraud. And RFA is the one where a suspicion of the fraudulent activities thrown up by the presence of one or more EWS. Because there are so many signals, there are so many parameters. If there is a presence of one or more early warning signal, which may be sensitive, this signal in a loan account should immediately put the bank on alert regarding a weakness or wrongdoing, which may ultimately turn out to be a fraudulent. So it's just a signal. It's just a input which may be result into the fraud in any bank account. A bank cannot afford to ignore such EWS, but must instead use them as a trigger to launch a detailed investigation into an RFA. If as a auditor, if there is a EWS, then what I have to do? Then there is the I have to do this account is the red flag account. After my reporting, the bank have to investigate these accounts. Bank will call the customer. Bank maybe take the some clarification from the customer. And sir, there are some parameters. Sir, there are some questions from the auditors. There may be some questions from the system. So please reply. After his reply, bank may take their decision that its account is for fraud or it's just a red flag account. What is the threshold limit as per the RBI? The threshold limit is the 50 crore. But we can say during our audit, there is the difference. It's the maximum limit. The maximum limit RBI is told ki if your account has the more than 50 crore, then you have to check all the parameters in each account. But every bank has its power. Now I can say I think there is a 3 crore or 5 crore bankers are using the limit of the 5 crores only. But as per RBI, it's for 50 crore. Why the concept of the red flag account? Why red flag? Because we can say incidence of the fraud increase. Nowadays, what happening ki loan liya, paisa nahi diya, even maybe some happening ki अभी आप देखेंगे कि लिंक भी बहुत आ रहे हैं. तो I think there is the fraud increase day by day. The increase day by day, gross NP is also increasing. General and loan portfolio is there. Now, what is the 3 stages? First, early warning system is the parameter set by the RBI and the banks. If there is a early warning system, any parameter hit by any account, then it's the red flag account. After an investigation, it may turn into the bank fraud. So there is a 3 step. First step is the early warning signal, is the EWS. Then it's the red flag account. we if any parameters, I mean, if there is sensitive parameter, maybe there are so many parameters there. One parameter they have explained ki sir, if there is the income tax rate or GST rate, but maybe possible ki theek hai, income tax rate is a routine, has if there is a no arrest of the proprietor, no arrest of the director, then I think there is the no problem. And then it's turned into the bank fraud. When we have to report the red flag account as an auditor during the concurrent audit is the very serious work. We have to do. It's now what's the happening. We have seen in the many cases concurrent auditor is done by the articles also, and the no visit of the main partner. So I request all the members, please do visit the audits of the do visit the branches if you are doing any concurrent audit of the any banks. During the stock audit, if you found that DP drawing power is the very low as compared to the loan sanction, then it's the red flag account. During the statutory audit, now the statutory audit is going on. We all are at the banks. So during the statutory audit, during the credit audit, during the revenue audit, and all types of bank audit, we have to report. There is the also requirement is the LFAR long form audit report. Red flag account concept are introduced by the banks or by RBI to get banks to act an early warning signal, which include rates by regulatory and tax authority. I already discussed which maybe includes rate by a regulatory, maybe by the income tax authority, by GST authority. It maybe we can ignore. But if there is a rate by the ED, if there is a rate by the DGGI, then you have to be report and this your report, and you also investigated. Then you please if there is the any rate by the ED, then please get the all the related documents by the borrower. Then why the ED has rated, what was the reason, what the question was asked by the ED, and all these things. Once an account is red flag, banks are mandated to complete its forensic audit within 6 months and decide whether it is a fraudulent or not. First, there will be a first there is a early warning signal, there is parameters. If there is a parameter, and as an auditor, as a banker, they mark it as a red flag, then it's the mandated. It's not the optional ki it's chalega bola nahi sir, forensic audit karani nahi karani, otherwise fraudulent mein check karne. If there is a red flag, then it should be there must be a forensic audit within 6 months. Within 6 months in the banks, and with the outside agency, then it maybe take the more than 6 months, and you have to decide, banker have to decide whether it is a fraudulent or not. Objective of the framework in dealing with the loan fraud. Why there is the what is the objective of this prevention of the fraud? Because prevention is the best fraud होने के बाद आपको पता लगेगा. So the prevention of the fraud is the main objective of the red flag accounts and the early warning system, early detection. Because we can see in many cases कि जब आपका detection जब अगर बाद के अंदर होता है, तो there is no property, there is no security to recover the losses of the bank. So in case we can detect the fraud at the early stage, then definitely bank can recover the more amount from the borrower. Promote reporting to the RBI so that RBI can direct to the bank. Investigation agency roles will be there, and staff accountability. Staff accountability will be there for the reason of the fraud. What RBI views and auditors toward non-detection of the fraud. If any auditor failed to undetected, if during his audit he is undetected any fraud, then he is the personally responsible for the loss to the bank. Loss to the bank means if there is a loss of rupees 1 crore, there is a loss of the 2 crore, there is a loss of the 50 crore, then auditor is the personally responsible. So as a auditor, as a concurrent auditor, as a statutory auditor, because now in the LFAR we have to report the number of accounts examined and the name of the accounts. So if you have mentioned suppose that now you are doing the statutory audit, and at the time of LFR reporting, you have mentioned that I have examined the account number XYZ, and after your audit, there is a fraud in that account in that period, then you are also responsible for the loss to the bank. So please just don't write the account for the increasing the percentage. You have to write only those accounts which you have actually checked during the audit, apart from other action, because you are the auditor is the responsible for the loss to the bank, but there will be other action also will be taken on the auditors by ICI, maybe maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months. Your COP may be hold. You may be by the RBI, by the banks, by the regulatory authority. There may such be panel action by these authority. So please take care during the audit. Now, how to reduce loss in fraud? How can we reduce losses in fraud? Because the main purpose of the red flag account is the reducing the loss in the fraud. So first, early detection of the fraud, because we have already discussed, if there is the early detection of the fraud, then definitely we can reduce the quantum of the loss which may be suffered by the bank. So we can there will be, if at the early stage there will be the more security available, there will be more data will be available, there will be more others document will be available. So early detection of the fraud, at the time of the if there is the early detection of the fraud, then definitely amount of the loss will be low as compared to the late detection of fraud.
Excuse me, sir, there is a question. So you will, can I ask the question in between, or at last we will take it?
At last, I think we can take it, na?
At last, okay, fine, I'll take it.
Necessary corrective action. If there is a fraud, if something, suppose we can suppose if there is a loss in the A account, then we can also take action for all other accounts. If there is the fraud in the stock taking, if there is a loss in the debtors, then there is the policy in the banks, you have to take external confirmation from the debtors. But during the audit, we have seen in the many cases the branches are not following these guidelines. Banks managers are saying, sir, we have a less staff, so we are not following these guidelines. They are not taking the external confirmation from the debtors, balance confirmation. Even there is the less physical report. You can say there is a stock report by the chartered accountant, but as per the banking guidelines, there is also a inspection report. There should be inspection report by the uh, bank official. But in many cases we have found in the files, even now you are doing the audit, you will find that definitely there will be no chances. I don't say, I'm not saying definitely, but there will be many cases you will find there is neither the confirmation from the debtors by the bankers or nor the physical verification, physical inspection report by the bank official. So if there is a detection of the fraud, then definitely a detection of fraud on the stock, then necessary corrective action will be taken in the other accounts also. So what is the importance of the red flag account? Red flag account is an important step in fraud risk control, because this is the first step to control the fraud risk. Suspicious fraudulent activities identify from the EWS. We can find out the suspicious activities from the early warning system. We can identify, because it may be in the guidance note issued by ICA. You can check there are the, I think 40 to 45 signals are there. It may be a fraudulent activity. This is a suspicious fraudulent activity. And after the RFA, the bank will be on the alert mode. If bank will be alert mode, then definitely अगर आप alert रहते हैं, in the Gita's अर्जुन से टू द श्री कृष्ण ड्यूरिंग द वॉर जब चल रहा था कि हे माधव, मुझे डर लग रहा है, मुझे डर लग रहा है, बड़ा डर। तो कृष्ण, श्री कृष्ण भगवान शायद कि डरना है, बोला हाँ, बोलो माधव मुझे तो डर लग रहा है, मैं युद्ध कर रहा हूं तो मुझे। और जब आदमी चौकन्ना होता है तो उसके 4 कान हो जाते हैं, और जब 4 कान हो जाते हैं तो आदमी सबका ध्यान रखता है, पूरा ध्यान रखता है। तो सेम, if there is the warning, then definitely bank will be in the alert mode. If bank is the alert mode, then there will be low chances for the fraud. We have already discussed the threshold limit. Threshold limit is the mandatory In the case, if there is a more than if the loan amount is the more than 50 crores, but is the discretion of the bank, is the compulsory for more than 50 account. But if the bank thinks we will do it for the less than 50 crore, there is the no foundation from the RBI. In practically, we can see in many cases, in many banking, I have seen they have marked the system of 5 crore to 3 crore. If there is the loan account more than 3 crore or 5 crore, then they are also checking all the parameters of the red flag accounts of the early warning system. Suppose if there is the red flag account, then what is the reporting? First, we have to report to SBI. More than threshold limit, if there is there, to report in the click regards, we all know Central Repository of Information on Large Credit. Report all fraud to Central Fraud Monitoring Cell, this is at Bangalore. And auditor to verify all the above reports. If there is any reporting to CRILIC or the Central Fraud Monitoring Cell, then during the audit, during the concurrent audit, during the statutory audit, you have to verify all the above reports. That what is the tracking of the EWS? It is not an additional task, but integrated with the credit monitoring process. Is the just a continuous activity, is not the year end mein karna hai वैसे, the continuous activity during the audit, it's a continuous activity, act as a trigger for any possible credit impairment. It's just a trigger. It's just a trigger. If there is a EWS, then it's the red flag account. If there is the red flag account, then bankers have to verify, branches have to verify there is the fraud or the fraudulent transaction are there or not. Play between credit risk and fraud risk. A study of early warning signals. A study of annual report as a whole. As an auditor, you have to read the annual report. Annual report of all the annual report as a whole. You have to read reports one to last point. All the accounting policy. If there is any changes accounting policy. If there is a change in the accounting policy of the borrower, if there is a change in the revenue recognition, then you have to then there is definitely, it's a early warning signal. It's maybe sensitive or the non-sensitive as per the bank. Not merely study of financial statement, board report, and management discussion analysis statement. A study of related party transaction in the notes of account. As an auditor, you have to read the notes of accounts, or not as an auditor of the banker, as an auditor of the companies, as the auditor of the other parties. You are also responsible to report all the related party transaction in your notes of account. So as your auditor, what I have to do, if I am doing the audit of any company, then I have to report all the related party transaction in the notes of accounts. And as an auditor of the bank, I have to study all the related party transaction in the notes of account. In many cases, we have found, because we found that this is the way of the fraud in the related party transaction. Company A sale to company B party C, company A is taking loan from the SBI bank, company B is taking loan the PNB bank, C is the Bank of Baroda, C this. But other they are taking the loans from the others bank also. And as you all are aware, then that in the calculation of the drawing power, related party transaction is the not part of the debtors. They are part of the creditors. But when you are calculating the drawing power, when you are calculating the DP, then debtors, including related parties, not the part of the debtors. Who has to report? Fraud monitoring group to report detail of 50 crores and above loans where EWS observed. Report the decision to CMD and CEO every month. They have to report. Put up the report of RFA to special committee of board for monitoring or follow-up fraud. Report regarding remedial action taken along with the current status. If there is early detection, if there is a delay in the early detection, then definitely detection of fraud will take long time. Bank reports those advances as fraud when they exhaust the chance of further recovery. If there is no chance of further recovery, then bankers are reporting is there is a fraud. Delay forced to commit the same type of fraud. If there is a delay, if Mr. X is doing the fraud in one bank, if there is a delay, there is no reporting by the banks at the early stage, then definitely he will do another fraud in another bank or in the same bank. Delay action against unsuspected borrower, increase loss to the bank. If there is any more delay, there is a more loss to the banking authority. So strengthen the monitoring process of the early warning system. Now, what is the early warning system? Now, what is the process? We can check at the time of the pre-sanction, at the time of the disbursement, or at the time of annual review, or we can say the renewal time. Because at the time, because after renewal, after disbursement of the loan, at the time of renewal, we also have to check all these things also. What is the pre-sanction point to be considered? Independent information and market intelligence of the borrower. Banks have to take the independent information. In all banks, we have seen there are the reports of the independent investigation by the bank official. You can see in your file there is the reports in the fixed format by the branches, by the banks are there, and these will be other two independent agencies will be there. Borrower involvement in the legal dispute. Borrower involvement in the legal dispute means if there is the legal dispute which may be result in the negative result, which may be I think we can say कि there may be involvement in the legal dispute, but the legal dispute बहुत risky है. I think we can say कि if there is the borrower is the gaming के अंदर है, if कुछ ऐसी एक्टिविटीज है जहां प्रॉब्लम्स है, वहां बोरो को जेल हो सकती है कुछ, देन यू हैव टू टेक योर डिसीजन. बैंक हैव टू टेक डिसीजन. रेड कंडक्टेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. It's the pre-sanction points. If there is any raid by the government, if there is any raid by the income tax department, by the GST department, by EDs, by DCCI, then you have to consider structure passes against the borrower by the government, defaulter list of RBI, ROC, and other government agency. Pre-sanction, before sanction of any loan, bank has to check defaulter list of the RBI. You can check in the CIBIL report also, ROCs and other government agency. Willful defaulter list, you have to check the willful default list, fraudulent personal list. If borrower name is appearing in this list, then there is the early warning. Then you have to consider your proposal. At the time of disbursement stage, adherence to the terms and condition of the sanction. These are terms and condition of the any loan. You have to check that all such terms and condition has been complied by the borrower. Dilution of the terms and condition. If there is any dilution of the terms and condition, if there is any dilution of the main condition, then this is the early warning signal. Risk management group to report the dilution to the sanctioning authority immediately. There is a risk management group has to report the dilution. If there is any dilution of that sanction condition, then they have to report the sanctioning authority. There the borrower is the not complying the terms and condition of the sanction letter. At the time of annual review, or we can say that at the time of the renewal of the account after 1 year in the CC account, renewal limit is the 1 year. In all other accounts, the 3 years or 1 year is also there. Annual review study from fraud angle. We have to read diversion of fund. You have to bankers have to check, and as an auditor, you have also check if there is a diversion of fund. If there is a stock statement, is a false stock statement submission by the borrower. In many cases, during the statutory audit, we have seen in many cases at the time of the at the time of the March, the borrower is submitting, sir, my stock is rupees 10 crore rupees, my stock is 5 crore rupees. But in the annual report, in the audit report, we have seen as there is the major difference in the stock statement submitted by the borrower at the time of we can say there is a stock in the if there is a stock if there is a stock of 10 crore as a stock statement submitted by the borrower, but in the audit report stock only 1 crore and 90 lakhs. If there is a difference more than 10 to 15%, then this is the signal for the auditor, then this is the signal for the bankers. Then you have to check what is the problem in this. If there is a stress in the group's accounts, you can check if there is stress, if they are the uh, bouncing of the high value check, then you can see the stress. Then there is a stress in the group account. Track market development of the client. Maybe possible he has started the business of the, yeah, we can say sanitizer, but after the COVID we can see the decline in the sales of the sanitizer value. So you have to check the what is the market development of the client product. If there's a declining, then this is the signal for the fraud. There's a signal for the red flag. There's a signal of the NP account. But maybe if there is the decreasing sales, then you have to check. Following of the stock market movement, study not confined to borrower but to the group as a whole. If there is a group, then you have to check group as a whole, not only till the not only confined to the borrower only. Staff empowerment, encouragement to be given to employee to report fraudulent activity. Staff should be encouraged for this. Ask them to given with reason to support their views, because there should be some reason, because we have already discussed in many cases High Court has penalized to the banks, because you have to follow the natural justice of the constitution. You have to give the one chance to the borrower. If we are going to the mark your account as a fraudulent, but before this you have to give one chance to the borrower for his clarification. Protection to staff under borrower policy. Maybe there are more fraud, then definitely there is the involvement of the higher criminal person may be there. So you have to protect the staff. FMG to hear the view of the employee. Fraud monitoring group. FMG means fraud monitoring group of the bank to hear the views of the employee. What is their view? Staff accountability has to be fixed also. If accountability for the auditor also, or accountability for the staff also has to be set by the bankers. Auditor's role, any finding by the auditor, if there is any finding of the auditor during his audit, then he has to report to the top management, including report to the annual committee board. Management asked to conduct forensic audit. If there is any chances, if there is the parameter EWS hit by the hit by and the report and the auditor has identified that this account the red flag account, then there should be a forensic audit of those account. Other highlights: no further loan. If one account is, if there is the EWS, if the account we have already marked as a red flag account, then no further loan will be sanctioned. Responsibility of bank to classify one account as a red flag account or fraud status. This is the responsibility of the bank. This one account is the red flag account or the fraud status. It's the responsibility of the bank that he has to investigate it. He has to investigate the red flag account within 6 months and give his report whether it's a fraud account or not account. He has to bank to bifurcate fraud case vigilance and non-vigilance. Just like the early warning system, there was the red signal early warning system, the sensitive and non-sensitive, and the same fraud cases is the vigilance and the non-vigilance. If case is the vigilance case, refer to the investigating authorities. They will decide that is the fraud account and not fraud account. And in the non-vigilance case, dealt at the bank level and complete investigation within a period of 6 months, then bank has to decide that this case is for fraud and if it is only the red flag account. All panel provision applicable for willful defaulter is also applicable to fraudulent person. Is the same. If there is any provision which is applied on the willful defaulter, the same will also be applied to the fraudulent person. Borrower defaulted and committed fraud, not eligible to get loan from banks, FI, NBFC and others for a period of 5 years. He's debarred from the any loan for any new loan from banks, from NBFC and FIs for the period up to 5 years. Panel provision applicable to all directors, including non-hold time directors also. In many cases, we have checked there is the as a chartered accountant, you are also in non-hold time directors in the private limited. You are also working. You have also given your name in any private limited. So just before giving your name, before giving your family names, just check whether company, if it's a family company, then no issue. If the non-family company, if you don't know the promoters, then please ignore all these things. Now, because panel provision will be applicable to non-hold time directors also. No stretching or grant of additional facilities to red flag account or fraud accounts. If suppose there is a red flag account, your bank already found, but there is no stretching. If in many cases we have found, because in many cases we have found that bank may be restructure the loan, bank may be grant the additional facility. But in case of red flag account, there will be no restructuring or no additional facilities. No TS, no one-time settlement is also allowed in this case. Now the RBI early warning signals, RFA frauds, default. What is the signals? What is the signal provided by the RBI? And the same, you can also read the our guidance note issued by the ICI also. In the ICI is also released the guidance note in the details. But default in payment to banks, sundry debtors, and statutory bodies. During the audit, you have found that borrower is regularly defaulting to SI standard instruction of the banks, EMI of the banks. Is regularly defaulting the sundry debtors. The other debtors in the books are more than 6 months, 1 year, or there is the dues of the GST, there is the due of the TDS, then definitely it's the early warning signal. If there is a bouncing high value checking, high value checks, if regularly there is a, if maybe if there are if there are 1 or 2 checks, then no issue. But but there are the regularly borrower in the borrower accounts, there is the bouncing of the high value check. This is the early warning signal. What is the high value check? It depends on the borrowers also, na, because it may be possible if the 10 lakh rupees is the high value check in my case, but it's the 10 crore rupees is the not high value case in another case. It maybe depends on the borrower also. If there is any raid by the income tax department, by the GST, by the FEMA, or by the regulatory authority and ED and all other authority, if there is a raid by IT and GST in regular cases, then no issue. But if there is a raid by the FEMA, if there is a raid by ED, then it's the early warning signal you have to check. Frequent change in the scope of the project to be undertaken by the borrower. First time borrower is saying, you know, sir, now we will do the project in we will do in the project in this field, now with this another field. There is a frequent changing in the scope of the project, then it's also a early warning signal. Underinsured or overinsured inventory, you have to check during the stock audit. You also check if there is underinsured or overinsured inventory. There is also early warning signal issued by the RBI. We are discussing all the illustrative list given by the RBI. In bank, you can also find the others warning signal also. Fabricated invoice of the sales invoice. You can cross verify from the GST returns if the invoices of the April months it's a not match with the sales of April month. Then definitely he has submitted the fabricated invoice to the bank. Dispute on the title of collateral security. If there is any dispute of the collateral security, then it's the also early warning signal. Dispute maybe in the forms of the definitely in the family matters. If maybe dispute maybe कि कई बार क्या होता है कि brothers family का matters हो जाता है, तो definitely you have to check. If there is any dispute on a title, then it's also early warning signal. Wide variation in the costing of the project. Funds coming from others bank to liquidate the outstanding loan amount. During the audit, we can call it the evergreening. If the one loan account is there and his fund coming from the others bank, then it's the early warning signal. Foreign bill outstanding for the long time. May be possible he has, if there is the outstanding of the foreign bill for the long time, it may be possible he has already received the amount from the Hawala. It may be possible, not the confirm, but it may be possible he has already received the amount in Hawala in India. It may be possible he has received the amount outside the India. So you have to check. You have to check if there is the any unclear there is the unclear amount there. Then it's the early warning signal. On a tough clause in issue a busy LC standby LC. If there is any tough clause, then you have this also a early warning signal. In merchandising trade, import lag is not revealed to the bank. This only warning signal is not revealed to the bank. Then you have to check this. Request from borrower to postpone go down inspection due to flimsy reason. It may be possible the borrower has requested to the banks and bank officials, please postpone or go down inspection. There is some problems, or there is some problem from our neighbor. There is some reason. So it's a really alarming situation. And in many cases, we have found the main reason for fraud is there is no inspection by the bank official. There is in many cases we have already found in many cases even we found there is no inspection by the stock auditor also. So if you are doing stock audit, so please visit or the go down also, all the go down. If just made the checklist of the ABC, you have to check the 90% of the stock. So if there is any request from borrower to bank official, please postpone my go down inspection, please postpone my the stock verification, please postpone the external confirmation, that this is also the early warning signal of the bank. If there is a delay observed the payment of the outstanding dues, if during the audit, if as a bankers you have observed that there is the delay in the of the outstanding dues, then this is also a early warning signal. Financing the unit far away from the branch, it's also a early warning signal. If he has chosen any branch which is the far away, then this is also a early warning signal. We are discussing all the parameters. It's not the confirm ki, oh, definitely, oh sir, you have told us in the webinar they have told if this is the red flag. No, it's just a parameter. You have to check if if any parameter has to hit, and then it's the depends on the bank policy and depend on the borrower. It's maybe a red flag account, it may not be red flag account. Claim not acknowledged at a debt high. Frequent invocation of the BG and development of the if there is a frequency invocation of the bank guarantees and the development of the letter of the credit, then also there is also then is also a early warning signal. If there is a funding of interest, if there is a definitely if the funding of the other facilities, then the no issue. But he is paying the interest by the new funding, then definitely there is some problem in his account. So if there is a funding of the interest by sanctioning additional facilities, then you have to check this. Then is the early warning signal for the borrower. Same collateral charged to a number of lenders. In many cases, we have checked is our primary lender is this. We have he has already mortgaged the property with a bank. And for additional facility, he is mortgaging through the same property with another banks, but taking the margin. So if there is the more number of lender, then it's also a early warning signal. Concealment of the vital document, he has not submitted. If he's not submitting all the vital document, last master agreement and insurance coverage, then it's also early warning signal. Floating front associate companies by investing borrowed money, then definitely it's early warning signal. You have to check. Reduction in the state of the promoter director, if there's a reduction in the shares of the promoters and director, if the reduction in their capital, if there's a reduction, even if there is a reduction in the unsecured loan, if there is a reduction in unsecured loan, is also early warning signal. Resignation of key personnel frequent in the management. If the key personnel of the company or the key personnel of the borrower has resigned from the company, and there is a frequent changing management team, one director is coming, one is resigning, another is coming, another is resigning, then definitely is the early warning signal for the borrower. And you have to check if there is a changes in the partnership and there is a change in the all the directors, then you have to check all these things. Substantial increase in unbilled revenue year after year. If there is any increasing unbilled revenue, then it's also a early warning signal. large number of transaction with interconnected companies and large outstanding from such company. We have already discussed in the stock audit. If there is the related party transaction is an interconnected company transaction, then then this is not the part of the drawing power. But if there is a large number of transactions with the interconnected companies, and interconnected companies also taken the loan from the other banks, you also taken the loan from the other banks and the others bank, that is the really early warning signals. Maybe there is some fishes there. So you have to check all these things. Significant movement in inventory disproportionately higher than the growth in the turnover. It may be possible that there is the increase in that there is the increase in the turnover of 10%, but the closing stock has been higher than the more than 10%. There is the growth in the 25%, 30%, because inventory depends on the turnover, only turnover. If there is the significant movement in inventory, then you have to check, then you have to cross verify that what is the reason for disproportionately higher of the stock. It may be possible there is the higher GP rate, because we have seen in the COVID cases in the pharmaceuticals companies that they have taken the higher GP rate as compared to the last year. So maybe possible there is some reason. You have to check, you have to cross verify all the documents. Significant movement in receivables disproportionately higher than the growth in turnover or increasing in aging of the receivable. If there is the turnover other than interconnected companies and there is the higher side, then you have to check. If there is the cycle period of the debtor is the 30 days, 40 days, 100 days, but if it's the higher than the 100 days, then you have to check. I've seen the increasing and the aging of the receivable, and same this will be not part of the drawing power. But you have to check what is the reason for increasing the aging of the receivable, and it also the early warning signal. Disproportionate increase in current assets, significant increase in working capital borrowing as percentage of total operation. If there is any increase in working capital, then you have to check. Critical issue highlighted in the stock audit report. If during the stock audit, stock auditor has highlighted in some critical issue, then as a banker has to have to check all the critical issue, have to cross verify all these things. Then it's also a early warning signal. Increase in fixed asset without corresponding increase in turnover when project is implemented diversion. Increase in borrowing despite huge cash and cash equivalent in the borrower's balance sheet. We can see in the many balance sheet, there is the cash balance of rupees 25 lakh. There is the and cash equivalents are there. Loans and advances are there to families and friends, and also there is the increasing in the borrowing. If this is there, then you have to cross check what is the reason to taking the borrowing, even when you have the huge cash and cash equivalents in your balance sheet. Liability appearing in ROC search report not reported by the borrower in its annual report. If there is any liability you have found in the ROC search report, but the same has not been appearing in the annual report, there is also a new warning signal. Substantial related party transaction. In many cases, we have found there are so many companies and they are doing transaction only the related party. Then you have to check if there is a substantial related party transaction. This is the definitely early warning signal. Material discrepancy in the annual report. We have already discussed. You have to read the annual report as a whole, not only financial statement. You have to report all the notes of accounts, all the observation of the auditors. Then, if there is any material discrepancy, then definitely is the early warning signal. Significant inconsistency with the annual report. If there is a significant inconsistency, then it's the early warning signal. Poor disclosure of materially adverse information and no qualification by the auditors, by the statutory auditors. If there is the materially adverse information are there, but no qualification by the statutory auditor, this is also early warning signal. And in this case, statutory auditor will also be responsible as the same for the non qualification, for non issuing the qualified report. Frequent changes in accounting period, accounting policy. If there is a frequent change in accounting period, first they are taking frequent change in accounting period. In the case only if it is the company, then they can change their accounting period because they are following the Companies Act. But in the case of the proprietorship and partnership, they have to uh, make the accounts as per the Income Tax Act. Frequent request for the general purpose loan. If there is any frequent requesting by the borrower to the banks for the general purpose loan, is also an early warning signal. You can see in the civil report if there is the higher inquiry of the loan, there is the declining of the civil score also. Movement of an account from one bank to another. It may be possible if I have the loan from the PNB Mr. X Bank, and if I think please sir, don't visit my the go down, sir, please change, please give me another loan. And if the Mr. X Bank is refused for this, then I will definitely move for another one. It's also signal. The next bank will have to check why he's moving from one bank to another bank. If there is a rate of interest matter or other matter, then maybe issue, then it's not issue. But other issue, if there, then definitely it's the early warning signal. Frequent ad hoc sanction. We can see if there is the limit of the any borrower is there 10 lakhs, but he is regularly for applying for the ad hoc sanction. That is also a early warning signal. No routing of sale proceeds through bank. Now he has to open only one account, one current account. But when he is, but you can check the sale proceed from his GST return. He getting the data of the sales of the rupees 50 lakhs in his GST return. But in bank account, you can see there is the credit only for 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs. If it's not routing of sale proceed through bank, then it's really early warning signal. Maybe possible he has opened another bank account. It may be possible he has opened another company. Maybe there are so many reasons. So you have to all these things. LC issue for local trade, related party transaction. If there is a LC letter of credit has been issued for the local trade and the related party transaction is also a early warning signal. Huge value of
Hello. This seminar and we'll keep you updated for the same. Thank you for joining, and we are extremely apologizing for this inconvenience caused to everyone. Thank you so much for attending the webinar today. यस सर, सेशन ओवर करना पड़ेगा बिकॉज सर नहीं ज्वाइन कर पा रहे. हम लोग वापस रखेंगे ये लेक्चर. विल कीप दिस लेक्चर अगेन. यस सर, यस सर. Sorry for the inconvenience, everyone. Sorry, participants. Your questions will also be taken in the next webinar. Thank you. Thank you.